Newstalk 1290 AM and 101.5 FM. It is the one and only Last Best Beer Show with your host, Ryan Newhouse.
Hello, Missoula, and welcome to the Last Best Beer Show. It is a pleasure to be back with you again this weekend, and I hope you've had an excellent Thanksgiving. Everybody's had a good time, good food, good beer, of course. Have a lot of fun with this week's show that we've got going on. We will hear from our neighbors to the north up at Great Northern Brewing Company. We'll talk to Marcus Duffy. And later in the show, we will have Alex from Taste Buds Kitchen, and they'll talk about what they've got going on. And in fact, I'll just go ahead and let you know what they've got going on. Taste Buds Kitchen and the Dram Shop are partnering again to bring you a pretty memorable holiday experience. They will be offering a gingerbread house making event on December 6th from 4 to 5 p.m. at the Dram Shop. It is $35 per family, plus $20 for additional houses, but essentially you get to build a gingerbread house. The kids do, and while that's going on, of course, parents get to enjoy one of the many fine beers that are available at the Dram Shop. So check that out, and we'll give you details about how to sign up for that as well. If you're looking for something new around Missoula to enjoy beer-wise, head down to Draftworks. They just tapped a collaboration beer. It's called Lunchbox Peanut Butter Brown. So it's an English-style brown ale, and they brewed it in collaboration with the Great Burn Brewing Company. They used 17 pounds of organic peanut butter and 6 pounds of raspberry puree. And it's clocking in about 6.5%. And I don't know.
Wow.
Peanut butter, raspberry. I mean, it sounds like lunch. Really.
I like it.
Yeah, that'll be good. So you can find it at Great Burn Brewing Company, and you should be able to find it at Draftworks as well. I do want to give a shout out to the Rhino Bar. Love those guys. And a special thank you. They are now signed on and have sponsored the Last Best Beer Show. So cheers to them.
They always have good scotch over there.
Oh, they do. They have excellent scotch. You go down and talk to Brad and Kevin, and yes, they will always pour you some good stuff. So lots going on around town and in the coming days. So stay tuned here and stay tuned with us on Facebook.com/Last Best Beer Show. And we look forward to a great show this week. And I am joined by Marcus Duffy. He is the general manager and partner at Great Northern Brewing Company up in Whitefish. They've been making some great beer for a long time, and I'm very excited to talk to Marcus. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, Ryan.
Excellent. Good deal. How are things up in Whitefish, both in the beer scene and life in general?
Life couldn't be any better in Whitefish. Loving life. Love the transition of seasons. We're looking at ski season any day now, it seems. And the beer drinking world up here is fantastic as well. This market continues to become more and more savvy and supportive of local beer, not only ourselves, but a lot of the surrounding breweries as well.
Excellent. I know you have some newer neighbors up there with Bonsai and Kalispell and HA Brewing, and so I'm assuming here, but it seems like one big happy family now.
Absolutely. Yeah, very supportive of them, and they've been very supportive of us. It's, that natural collaborative nature of the beer business is a lot of fun.
Excellent. Speaking of collaborations, I know you've done, or Great Northern Brewing has done some really fun ones in the past, some with some music stars and others, but I don't know what's going on as far as the beer goes from Great Northern. Collaborations or special releases? Tell us what you got on tap.
Sure. Well, we've got a lot of neat things happening right now. We've spent the last 7 years or so really rebuilding Great Northern. It's got a long history that goes back to the mid-'90s. A lot has come and gone from this brewery, but really in the last 7-8 years or so, we've I wouldn't say rebranded ourselves, but refocused ourselves on some projects to become not only financially viable, but really a going concern in terms of the Montana beer market, putting some nice lagers and ales out in the market, both on and off premise. That's been a primary focus of ours. to build that foundation in the distribution world. And just in the last year or so, we've been able to kind of branch off of that a bit more, put emphasis into seasonals, a couple different series of beers we're doing. Primarily the Weather Vane series has been going for us for a couple years, and really it's just starting to get its stride. That's a draft and 22-ounce bottle program only. And that's a 4 times a year different seasonal that really tries to go stay true to the season.
Okay.
That's been a lot of fun. And then most recently, we have just brought in 2 20-barrel fermenters into the building. We have worked on some efficiencies in terms of square footage, and as every brewery knows, square footage, cubic footage is not easy to come by in a lot of cases. But we were able to mix some things up and brought in 2 20-barrel fermenters, and have just launched in the last month or so what we're calling the Bushwhack series.
Okay.
The theme and vision behind it is, let's do some things that are a little bit out of the ordinary, maybe a little tongue-in-cheek in terms of branding, and off of the beaten path of what we normally do, which are typically more traditional classic style beers and more that classic Great Northern branding. So these kind of have a different personality of their own, which is going to be fun to watch unfold over the next year.
Excellent. So you're ready to push the limits even more with this stuff.
We are.
Excellent.
It's really going to open up our barrel program, which is very much in its infancy. That's always been an area that we've played with, but not on a scale that is necessarily on a commercial scale. It's more experimental, which has been really unique because it's allowed us to focus on that and learn a lot prior to taking it to market. But now it's time to kind of push that envelope. We're playing with Firkin kegs and some beer engine style beers that we'll put on draft here at the brewery.
So Firkins, I wanted to really touch on that and explain that too for people that might not be aware. Tell us what a Firkin is.
Yeah, Firkins, they're, I guess you'd probably say, the original beer keg, the original metal beer keg. They're still very popular in Europe. I think I've got the history right. Somebody out there probably knows more than I do, but essentially it goes with the tradition of real ale. Real ale being, naturally carbonated beers in a cask that aren't pushed with artificial CO2. Yep. They're typically pumped out of the keg itself and just lightly carbonated from the natural carbonation. So it's very difficult on a commercial scale to do it because there's a lot of time and care that has to go into each keg itself in terms of handling. But it's ideal for a brewery and tap room that can kind of pull off small batches or small bits of different beers and put them into Firkins, naturally carbonate them, and then serve them out of a beer engine.
Great. And so you'll see that here in the tap room?
Yes, we're launching that in the spring. What we're not doing is we're not doing the bar level Firkin serving, which typically uses gravity to just drain the keg.
Okay.
There are some pros and cons to that. The biggest con being, once you tap it, you pretty much need to move through it, which probably wouldn't be a problem for bigger metro areas, but for us, we have 12 beers on tap as it is now, and if we're going to tap into one, we want to drain it that same day, or do the alternative, which is a vertical tapping system, which still utilizes a beer engine and no artificial carbonation, but does allow us to have it on tap for several days.
Excellent. Good. I have fond memories of heading up to Whitefish and hanging out with you and all the other great people you have working there at Great Northern and doing some fun events up there. What can you highlight some of the events all throughout the year that you guys are involved with up at Great Northern?
Well, we try to keep things interesting. Our event that's top of mind right now that's coming up in February coincides with the Whitefish Winter Carnival, which is kind of a mountain town style Mardi Gras.
That's a beautiful way to put it. Yeah,
it's difficult to describe if you haven't witnessed it, but was designed, I think, going on 70 years ago as a way to kind of break things up between the spring and Christmas, or Christmas in the spring. Things can get a little bit mundane in a small mountain town that time of year, so they thought, well, let's bring some wild and crazy festivities to the town. And that thing has evolved to become one of the quirkiest things in the Northwest, I would argue.
Awesome.
And we definitely piggyback on that. We just coincidentally celebrate our anniversary as a brewery every year at the Winter Carnival weekend.
Okay.
This coming year, we'll celebrate our 21st year.
Oh, you're almost you're legal now. You can drink.
Almost legal. Yeah.
You're 21.
Exactly.
Awesome.
So we'll be sure to celebrate that. We coincide several events with that weekend. Historically, we've done the beer barter, which is a blast.
Yep.
The idea behind that is, what would you do or trade for a year's supply of beer?
Oh, yes.
And that's 52 cases, a case a week for an entire year. And that's been a great event. We've had a few hiccups the last few years when it comes to compliance and city permitting.
Sure.
It's gotten a little overly dramatic, if you ask me, but
Yep.
We've decided to put that event on hold while we figure out some of those things. But in the meantime, we continue our anniversary party every year, which is pretty much sun up to sundown. Beers, toasts, watching the Winter Carnival parade, all the quirkiness of Whitefish unfolds.
Excellent. Well, we'll keep our listeners in tune with that. That's coming in February. They'll find a link on our Facebook, and they can find you online, right? They can find you on Facebook and all those good places. Marcus, I really appreciate you taking some time with us today, and enjoy winter, and look for us in February to come up and have some fun with you.
Thank you very much, Ryan. We're looking forward to it. I've got a personal invitation to you coming your way for the 21st anniversary. But if anybody listening, please join us in February. Come up, try our beers, and if you can't make it this way, look for them on the shelves.
Excellent. Will do. Thank you so much.
All right.
Stay with us here on Newstalk KGVO 1290 AM and 101.5 FM for the Last Best Beer Show. This is Ryan Newhouse. Here's a word from our sponsors.
All right, we're back. The Last Best Beer Show, Newstalk KGVO. Remember, online, newstalkkgvo.com, and our host, Ryan Newhouse.
As you know, with the Last Best Beer Show, every week I like to talk a little bit about beer and food. And this week's guest I have is Alex Frigerio, owner of Taste Buds Kitchen in Missoula. He owns it with his wife, Christine. Alex, thank you for coming down to the studio today.
Hey, thanks for having me today. Glad to be here.
So why don't you tell our listeners, one, where Taste Buds Kitchen is downtown, and a little bit about what you do there.
So we're located at 131 East Main. We're just a block off of Higgins, a couple blocks down from the library. Mm-hmm. And you can't miss us. We have a big green awning outside. And what we do is we offer cooking classes for kids and adults, starting at age 2 and then all the way up to age 99. And we offer a ton of different types of events and classes and camps and all sorts of things. And we do cooking classes that are meant to be a great learning experience for both the kids and the adults, but most of all, they're meant to be fun.
Excellent. Now, I can speak from personal experience. My 8-year-old daughter did a summer camp there this summer, and she has been cooking lots of great treats from that. She actually did a couple, and you did a fantastic job.
Hey, thank you. Yep, that's the idea. We send them home, and they continue cooking when they get there.
Awesome. So I wanted to talk to you today because you've got a couple of very cool events coming up that actually has a little bit to do with beer. And, of course, being the holidays, we've had Thanksgiving come and go now. And we're looking forward to what's next. And on December 6th at the Dram Shop, why don't you tell us about the event that you have going on there?
Yeah, so on December 6th at the Dram Shop, we'll be doing our second gingerbread decorating event that we've had there. We did one during Halloween where we did spooky gingerbread houses, and this one is traditional Christmas gingerbread houses. So families come in and they get to sit down, and we have a pre-made gingerbread house that we've stood up for them, and then we give them a bag of icing and a giant muffin tin full of candy that we refill as they use it. And the kids get to have a lot of fun and decorate their houses, and the parents get to sit back and have a beer and enjoy it as well.
Awesome. So this is at the Dram Shop, correct?
Correct. Yep. This one will be at the Dram Shop, and we do them at our kitchen throughout December as well.
Okay.
But we're going to kick it off with this one at the Dram Shop because the last one was just a ton of fun.
I heard it was a sellout event there at the end, or pretty full for Halloween. Spooky.
It was, yeah. We ended up selling that one out, and it started out that we had a lot of spots open, but a couple days leading up to it, they were all gone. So it was a packed house.
Everybody got their spook on at the last minute, I guess.
That's right.
There. Awesome. I mean, so how, if someone's interested in doing the Holiday Gingerbread House, how do they sign up and let you know that they're interested?
It's pretty easy. You can either call us at 616-BUDS or go to our website at tastebudskitchen.com/Missoula, and all of our events are listed on there. And you just you'll see the Dram Shop will be one of the first ones listed, and you just go through and register there, and then you're in.
Excellent. And we'll throw a link up on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Last Best Beer Show. So you can get in there and register. So let's talk about, you do a lot of classes all year long, and you don't just do summer camps, you do winter camps as well. And then I guess, have you had any beer and food cooking classes yet? Is that something that you'd think about?
Yeah, it's definitely something that's on our radar. We haven't done any cooking with beer classes just yet, but it's something we're definitely going to do in the future. We've thrown the idea around with a lot of different people, and we'll definitely be offering some events in the future where we're cooking with beer. And all of our adult classes are always BYOB as well. Even though we don't cook with beer, we have a lot of beer in our kitchen.
So yes, BYOB, bring your own. Sign up and maybe run down to the Dram Shop and fill a half growler and bring it down with you.
Yeah, anytime somebody walks in empty-handed, that's where I send them.
Excellent. Well, what do you, just your opinion, because you're obviously food-centered, but what are some of the pros to having beer in a food or part of the recipe? I don't know, this seems to be a growing trend, different ways that people can get creative, but is there anything that you can think of that is an appeal to find ways to put more beer into food and recipes?
Yeah, definitely. Flavor is the biggest advantage of it. You know, with the craft beer market here that we have in Missoula, you have so many different choices of beer and so many great flavors. And by adding those and incorporating them into your recipes, you get those great flavors in your recipes as well. So it's a really easy way to experiment while you're cooking and add different flavors and have fun drinking beer while you're doing it.
I love it. I read a quote this week that said, I often cook with wine, and sometimes they even put it in the food. So it's sort of like you've got it out there, you open up a bottle, you got to save some for the recipe, but really it's just about having a glass of beer while you're putting together your recipe. With it being holiday season, Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, where a lot of people are putting together some fancy spreads and hosting people, but everyone's looking for good desserts. And I noticed this week, you guys were featured in the Missoula Independent as one of the dessert or pie features. Tell me about what you contributed to the Missoula Independent for that.
Yeah, they gave us a call and asked us if we could contribute a recipe for that issue, and we sent them over our apple rose pie recipe. Oh, wow. Which is it's a big favorite in our kitchen, and I love it because it's really easy. The crust, it's a homemade pie crust, which is only 4 ingredients. It's easy to make. You know, we have kids of all ages in our kitchen making it all the time, and then you use the fresh apples, which are in season right now. And we use a little bit of jam preserve in there with the filling. So it's really easy. It's 8 ingredients total. It always turns out perfect, and it looks really nice too. You cut the apples very thin, you roll them up in the dough, and it looks like a rose when it comes out of the oven. So
very cool.
It's a crowd pleaser and a chef pleaser because it's easy to make and it tastes great.
Awesome. You know, imagining having this beer, and honestly, I think I have had a sample when my daughter was in your cooking class this summer, and but even just looking over the recipe, which we will post on our Facebook for our listeners as well, to me, I would put this with maybe some kind of sour beer. I don't know if I'm just thinking of something that's tart and then you get sweetness of apples, but I don't know. I'll put you on the spot. There's no wrong answer. What kind of beer would you put with this dessert?
I think sours would be a great route to go. It would pair nice with the tartness of the apple, and I know sours are one of my wife's favorites. Mm-hmm. Personally, I know my grandpa, his favorite breakfast was always pie and coffee.
Oh, beautiful.
So I like to pair these pies we make with like a coffee porter or a coffee stout.
Excellent suggestion.
Pretty well.
I'll have to try that tomorrow morning, perhaps. Awesome. Alex, thank you so much for coming down. And again, just tell us one more time where people can find you online and in person so they know how to sign up for these classes that you're offering.
Online we're at tastebudskitchen.com/Missoula, and all of our classes are always listed on there: adult classes, kids classes, the camps, for about a month out. And you can always go to our Facebook page too and like our Facebook page, and then we post on that a couple times a week with whatever we have coming up. And you can always call our kitchen as well at 616-BUDS.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I hope to see everyone down at the Gingerbread House decoration party. I'll call it a party at Dram Shop on December 6th. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Last Best Beer Show. We will be back here same time, same place next week. But save the date. Remember, December 3rd is coming up, and this is our first Business and Brews. It is a networking event brought to you by The Last Best Beer Show. And on December 3rd, Thursday, at Imagination Brewing Company, 6 p.m., join us for Philanthropy and Service 101. If you're in the spirit of giving this season, come down, have a beer, listen to a talk from local nonprofit experts, and know how to effectively give time and money and really make a difference in the community. Until next week, cheers, Missoula.